Joining us now is Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. He recently testified against Trump in the civil fraud trial, the first time in 5 years. They were actually face to face. He's the author of the book Revenge and the host of the podcast Mea Culpa. Thanks for joining us. I want to start with what we heard from Anthony Scaramucci last hour. We played at the start of the show that he predicted Trump was going to be kind of calm, cool, collected, stay within the normal bounds of things on the witness stand. What do you think? You spent more time with him over a lengthy period of time than just about anyone.
Yeah, unfortunately. I don't see it the same way as Anthony does. Yeah, at the beginning, he's going to try. He's going to try very hard to stay within the lane because he already knows that he and the judge don't clearly see eye to eye. And so he'll try to stay in the lane. But as the prosecutors continue to drill down on him with information and with allegations that he overinflated his net worth by billions, that's going to irritate him because his net worth, his statement of financial condition, it's really a combination of his id, his ego, his superego, all mashed into one narcissistic sociopath.
You testified in this trial, and you said on the stand, quote, he being Trump would look at the total assets and he would say, quote, I'm actually not worth $4.5 billion. I'm really worth more like $6 billion. And then you went on to testify that Alan Weisselberg, the former CFO of the Trump organization, would reverse engineer the properties to make that math check out. Did Trump know how that all worked?
Of course. What we would do is we would take in a document from the year earlier and we would give it to Donald, and that's where he would make that mob-style type of statement. I'm not worth 4.5, I'm worth 5. In fact, I could be maybe 7 or 8. You and Alan go back to Alan's office and figure it out. That's the way he would speak. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand what he wants, but then being with him for over a decade, or Alan Weisselberg for 4 decades, we knew exactly what he wanted. We accomplished that task. We then returned to his office in order to provide him back with the document for his sign-off.
But then you also did testify on the stand that essentially Trump had not specifically told you to do that. He implied it. And then Trump used that to go to the judge and say, look here, clear me. And the judge said, no way. But it does seem like your testimony contradicted itself.
No, because it's the word specifically. In other words, he never specifically used the words. No different, again, than a mob boss. Michael, Alan, go to the back, reverse engineer my numbers in order to inflate my assets. It was the matter of the word specifically. And, you know, I wanted to be truthful when answering that question. No, he did not. But it doesn't need the term specific in order to, the difference between implied, right, and implicit.
Would there be repercussions if you had not done it? And I think one of the questions is, you know, the implication of what he wanted that you knew because you and Alan had worked with him for so long. Had you not delivered on that, what would have happened?
Probably would have been fired, but there was no such thing at the Trump organization. If Donald Trump tasked you with something, you did it.
Even implicitly?
Even implicitly.
It's just so interesting that this poll that's really good for Trump in the New York Times this morning, in a head-to-head matchup against Biden, comes on the same day that he's testifying and could potentially lose his entire business empire and the ability to operate it within New York. You know his mind. How do you think he's processing those two things on the same day?
It's very difficult for him. You know, he's very myopic in how he thinks. Right now, he's concerned about what's more important to him, and that is his net worth, that is his company. Because, again, that is him. That is who he has purported. Yes, for right now. Because he believes that when he, in his mind, he thinks that he'll be victorious in this New York Attorney General case. And he will use that to propel him into the White House. The poll has all sorts of issues that I personally don't understand when I was watching your show this morning. For example, how he's rising in the polls with blacks. To me, it doesn't make any sense. This is a man who could not utter, for example, George Floyd's name during this horrific, horrific time in American history, and yet he's rising in the polls, or even amongst Muslims who refuse now to vote for Biden, they'll only vote for Trump. Let's not forget, the very first thing that he did when he was in office in 2017 was try to enact a Muslim ban.
Right. I don't think we should group groups together like that. It's not a it's not a single vote for Muslim voters or black
No,
voters.
but what they're saying is that it increased, and it doesn't make any sense to me. I think there's a lot of issues with this poll.
One of the questions is, okay, if he were to win and have a second term in office, what would he actually do? And I think it's important to note that they haven't been subtle. He and his advisors, people that are close to him, they have policy proposals. They have plans, and the Washington Post is reporting that critical to those will be the Justice Department and really kind of punishing some of the people that went against him. We're talking about his former chief of staff, John Kelly, even people like his former lawyer, Ty Cobb. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a real possibility?
Oh, Donald is a very vindictive human being. So the answer is 100%. And it should really give people pause to start to reflect back to like 1939 Germany, where Hitler did the same thing. What is he going to do? He's going to start now turning around and going after kids in campuses who express their First Amendment rights. He's going to make them wear, Palestinian flags on their armbands, as armbands. Again, everything with him is violent rhetoric. And the country really better wake up, and they better start thinking twice before they start answering questions, even in the New York Times Siena poll.
Michael Cohen, thank you. I know you'll be watching coverage today.
You know I will.
Closely. We'll have it all live here on CNN.